The planned arraignment of the former Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, Ayodele Oke, and his wife, Mrs. Folashade Ayodele Oke, failed to hold today, Friday, at the Federal High Court. EFCC counsel Rotimi Oyedepo says that the case was not listed in the case list for Friday and would likely be called on Wednesday, February the 6th, 2019. Responding to reports that the former DG and his wife had fled the country, Oyedepo asked journalists to wait till Wednesday to find out. The EFCC had slammed 4 fresh charges of alleged $205.9 million fraud on the former NIA DJ and his wife, following the recovery of huge sums of money in hard currency from flat 7B number 16 Osborne Towers in Ikoyi, Lagos. To what end are the fresh charges when many expected the findings from the investigations into the NIA and SGF Babachir Lawal's case will be made public? Data feeds are coming through in one place simultaneously on all our social media platforms, channelstv.com and on youtube.com/channelsweb. You can follow us right now on m.channelstv.com and on Facebook as well. We've got all our platforms on social media covered. Tweet at Gimba Umar CTV. Use the hashtag State of the Nation. Let's get your thoughts in. Now, the meeting between the federal government and the leadership of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has been adjourned till Thursday, February the 7th, when they failed to reach a truce. For the 9th time, the striking lecturers have met with the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, and resolve the industrial action, which has lingered for almost 3 months now. The lecturers proceeded on strike on November the 4th last year in protest of what they describe as poor welfare, university revitalization, amongst other demands. Is the government and ASU making a headway on the demands or not? The Electoral Commission, INEC, has released a full list of candidates cleared to contest the State Assembly and governorship elections. The governorship and State Assembly elections are scheduled to hold on March the 2nd across Nigeria. In that list, no candidates of Nigeria's ruling party, the APC, were listed for Rivers and Zamfara states. What does this mean to the APC in the 2 states? Will the courts come up with a ruling that may change INEC's status quo? So we ask the question, how ready is the country for the 2019 general elections? It's prime time here in Lagos, and this is State of the Nation. Welcome everyone in Nigeria and the rest of the world. I am Gimba Umar and this is State of the Nation. It's 14 days plus 1 to the general elections, and what many have been assuring if the country is ready for the elections or not. Issues have arisen in 2 states where the APC will not be fielding candidates for the governorship elections. INEC had said that it will not allow the APC field candidate in Zamfara because the party did not hold primaries within the stipulated time. Although the APC faction loyal to the governor, Abdulaziz Yari, claims it held congresses and has candidates, the faction loyal to Senator Kabiru Marafa has insisted that no primaries held whatsoever. The party headquarters also said that no primaries held, but said it adopted consensus candidates within the stipulated time. Bearing this in mind, how ready are we for the 2019 general elections? Liboros Oshoma is a legal practitioner. He joins me in the studios along with Oladende Ario as a security expert as well. I want to thank you both, gentlemen, for joining me on State of the Nation. Also, Garba Ibrahim, a political analyst, joins us from our Abuja studios. Thank you also for coming on the show, as well as I begin with Liboros Oshoma. First of all, let's begin by brushing these 2 states, River State and Zamfara State, before we broaden our scope. According to INEC, Zamfara did not meet the stipulated time for the primaries, while APC in River State disobeyed a federal high court order invalidating its primaries, where candidates, of course, did emerge. You know politicians and how optimistic they are always at, and some of them still believe to this time that the courts will come up with a ruling that will overturn this. Yeah. You are the lawyer. Is this wishful thinking?
No, not at all. For Rivers, the matter, I think the Supreme Court had reserved a ruling for that of Rivers, and so there's still hope that the judgment, and the judgment might go either way, even though the Federal High Court, there are 2 suits now, one at the Federal High Court and one at the State High Court. And then the other one, even though also the Court of Appeal had ruled on the matter. But for Zamfara, INEC is the one insisting now. It's not unlike that of Rivers, where some candidates alleged that they were not included in the Congress that held in May 2017, and so to that extent sought a declarative order that primaries congresses should not be held. That's had been the beginning, the foundation of all of this crisis. But for Zamfara, INEC is the one insisting that the primaries were not held as at when due.
Translate that in simple terms for us. Does it mean that there's no hope for Zamfara State?
For Zamfara, it's what the French people would call a comme ci comme ça. It's dicey. Because INEC is insisting. Because also we all remember the crisis that rocked the APC, the factional crisis that rocked the APC in Zamfara. It's just that even for Ogun and Imo, they were able to resolve that, and some persons moved out of the party. But for that of Zamfara, we saw all of the troubles that happened, and INEC said that at the end of the day, even though some faction had claimed that they eventually, Oshomole's faction or the National Working Committee did claim that eventually the crisis were resolved and consensus candidates were agreed upon. Why Yari's story was that in the midst of all of those crises, a primaries did hold. But INEC is saying that, in spite of all of that, that those alleged primaries did not hold within the stipulated time, and so to that extent, except there is a valid court order. Like I learned also, there was a federal high court order authorizing INEC to recognize them, but I really have not read the detail of that. But except there is something from the court otherwise, from the way it looks, it seems as if things will stand as
the heart of it, these elections touches on the security, the capacity for the elections to be secured. You're a security expert. Do you see this kind of issues fomenting trouble, especially for the states?
Well, in specifically 4 states, it is possible. Zamfara is now a hotbed. The other one, Rivers, is another. Ogun, where the sitting governor brought somebody from another party and is sponsoring him, while he himself is contesting for the Senate on the ruling party's ticket. I just watched the video of Imo State governor saying that he assured the president that they will vote for him in Imo State. But Hope Uzodinma was on his own. When you look at all of these things, they still do. If you recall in 2015, we were in the studio here, and your man in Rivers, reporting from Rivers, was having bullets flying over his head. It was that bad. It could be, this year, it may be worse in those places. But bearing that, it should be better, because the dividing lines then were 2, religion and ethnicity. But this time around, the 2 contenders are from the north, so to say Fulanis, and then they're all Muslims. So nobody has mentioned anything in that area. The only thing they are throwing around now is the corruption tar.
Okay, we'll get to that, but let's broaden this discussion a little further. Let's get to you, Ibrahim in Abuja. We are at this point, really, in 2019, looking at the elections in the next 14 plus days. But the suspension of the CJN will turn again, while we have Justice Tanko Mohammed sitting in acting capacity. The NBA is kicking already against his suspension, saying that it didn't follow due process. Mr. Ibrahim, let's get your thoughts on this. You have been watching issues unfold. Is the instance of the suspension of the CJN enough to suggest that we are indeed ready for the elections or not?
Well, thank you, Gimba, and good evening, Nigerians. At this point, regarding the suspension of the CGN, so much has been said on the media, social media, and all print media. It's quite disturbing that at this point we're looking into a suspension of somebody who is heading one of the arms of that's the arms of the government. It's quite sad, but well, we wouldn't know. In my own opinion, I was somehow embarrassed because I felt we should first investigate which of the CJN are we talking about. The man that was appointed like a year or 2 ago, I mean, that was confirmed rather. So at that point, what happened? what kind of investigation went in or took place during his own confirmation? Are we saying that there was all this information that just happens to come out now wasn't there before now? So while, or they reserve it because let's see how far. You see, it's quite unfortunate again that while all this noise is going on, there is a particular set of information going around which the media should have helped us to really get to dig down to understand that. Why do we find ourselves in this kind of situation when it is very much critical that we know that the judiciary has a role to play even before or after the elections, but yet again we are seeing some dramas or some spanners being thrown in the works?